Hi, I'm Andy LeGrand. Welcome to our program. Today we'll be learning about compressed gas cylinders and expanding our knowledge of how to work safely. There's a whole lot of room squeezed into a gas cylinder. Take these two, full of acetylene and oxygen, enough fuel to work for hours. Of course, that's why these cylinders exist, to squeeze down the space needed to efficiently store the gases we work with. We need to be careful, though. Compressing the gas puts it under a lot of pressure, and that can lead to dangerous situations. Say a cylinder is full of a flammable gas and a small leak develops at the valve. The high pressure forces out the gas, spreading it over great distances. It flows over workbenches, passes electrical equipment, and maybe finds a source of ignition, a spark or open flame. The results can be devastating. There are three things going on here. We have a leak in the system, we have the spread of the gas, and finally, the specific hazard of the substance itself. In this case, it's flammability. This makes it easy to see why we should pay attention to the safe use of gas cylinders. Handling compressed gases safely often includes learning about the hazards of the gas being compressed. Be sure to pay attention to labels and warning signs. Consult the MSDS or your supervisor if you have any questions. Some gases have special hazards. For instance, cryogenic materials produce extremely low temperatures that can cause severe burns to the skin. Prolonged exposure can cause frostbite. Working with goggles, a face shield, and insulated gloves will help protect you from injury. These low temperatures can also make valve washers brittle, so that they break away and cause leaks. Steel may even rupture on impact. This is especially dangerous because cryogenic liquids produce a lot of gas when they're released into the atmosphere. If the gas is oxygen, it can quickly enrich the atmosphere, making it easier for a fire or explosion to occur. A leak of some other gas may push breathable air out of the room, leading to a loss of consciousness and even death. Even a small leak can produce an atmospheric hazard. And here's a second scenario. If a cylinder fell and its valve was damaged, the rapid release of gas could turn the cylinder into a rocket. We've all heard those stories, so we can see why it's so important to treat cylinders with care. Cool, dry, well-ventilated spaces are best for storage. Cylinders should be secured to prevent falling or bumping. Loosely draping a chain across a cylinder will not do. It's too easy for a cylinder to fall over or slip out underneath. The idea, of course, is to keep cylinders from falling or knocking into one another. Any physical stress can lead to leaks or ruptures. Some states have more rigorous requirements than others for the securing of cylinders. Ask your supervisor about the laws your facility is subject to. We need to remember a few other things about storage as well, like keeping containers out of direct sunlight. High temperatures increase a cylinder's internal pressure. Flammable gases and oxidizers should be separated by a wall or kept at least 20 feet apart. If a leak occurs, any mixing of these two gases would be dangerous. Smoking is never permitted in cylinder storage areas. To handle a cylinder safely, you must know what is inside. To do this, you should read the cylinder's labels and stencils. Never try to judge a cylinder by its color. Paint colors are not used to identify gases. You need to be careful when moving cylinders. Never drag them. This can damage the cylinder and lead to accidents. Hand rolling cylinders for more than a few feet is also a bad idea. The container can slip and fall. Moving cylinders with a hand truck is the safest course. Don't forget, safety caps must always be in place whenever a cylinder is being transported, even over a small distance. Caps protect the cylinder's valve in the event of a fall.
If a cylinder does fall, don't try and catch it. This may seem like strange advice when you consider the potential damage a broken valve can cause. But more people are injured while trying to catch heavy falling cylinders than by the rocket that may be created when a valve breaks.
The best plan is to leave the safety cap on. Handle cylinders with care and always wear your safety shoes. And here's a special note. If you detect a gas leak when you're transporting a cylinder, report it immediately to your supervisor. Leaking cylinders should be removed from the area. The same goes for rusty or corroded cylinders. Once a cylinder's in place, it is finally safe to unscrew the cap. Never force it off with a screwdriver or bar. That could accidentally open or damage the valve. To hook a cylinder into a system, you need a few specialized pieces of equipment. The first is the regulator. This device is essential to the safe use of a compressed gas cylinder. As we discussed, cylinders are filled to extreme pressures. The task of the regulator is to control the speed at which a gas is withdrawn from the cylinder. The second device required for hookup is the CGA fitting. This should be permanently attached to the regulator. It connects to the cylinder valve to allow the gas to leave the cylinder. CGAs vary depending on the type of gas, so hooking up the wrong cylinder to a system becomes very hard to do.
Mistakes in this area can be critical. For instance, placing a flammable gas into a system near an ignition source could cause an explosion. So never attempt to force a CGA onto a valve. If it isn't fitting correctly, it's for a reason.
This is an oxygen cylinder.
Most cylinders have an added safety feature, a pressure relief device. These are installed to prevent rupture and violent pressure release if the cylinder is exposed to extreme heat. In case of a fire, for instance, the relief device will open and allow for a controlled release of the material. If the gas is flammable, this will unfortunately add fuel to the fire. However, this is still better than having the cylinder explode. There are no relief devices on cylinders used to store toxic or poisonous substances. Any escape of these gases is considered too dangerous to risk. Once you've assembled your system and have it up and running, you should check fittings and valves for leaks. Cover surfaces with a diluted soap solution. Any sign of bubbles will mean that you have a leak. Adjustments are generally simple. All it may take to fix a leaky valve is half a turn with a wrench. If you suspect a leak, alert other employees in the area. An evacuation may be called for, depending on the size of the leak and the material involved. Never enter a leak area without a self-contained breathing apparatus, and never put one of those on unless you've been fully trained to do so. Backup personnel must assist you because many leaks are highly dangerous.
Remember, if a problem does occur, you should take action according to your facility's emergency plan and the material safety data sheets for the substances involved. Using gas cylinders becomes complicated only when you don't do your homework. Know the properties and hazards of the gases you work with. Use proper equipment to safely transport and store cylinders. Follow standard operating procedures when you hook up and operate cylinders. Finally, remember that most accidents should never occur. By using preparation and foresight, you can work with compressed gas cylinders safely.